it's a privilege to be interviewed by the Phoenix Foundation. Thank you so much for the trust and for the opportunity to have this chance to speak with you and the audience about my perspectives from resilience. My name is Vivica. I work in the nonprofit sector. I work in international education development. I'm currently based in Hong Kong. Unlike many people move to Hong Kong for finance or other professional jobs, I moved to Hong Kong about 10 years ago to pursue my dreams in the nonprofit sector. Achievements, that's a very difficult question because when I look back, I'm pretty happy, pretty proud of my career, but I never considered it as a big accomplishment or achievement. But I was very happy to be able to identify my career calling since early on and find a lot of satisfaction and happiness in my day-to-day job. Through my work, I was able to really support a lot of leaders, support a lot of people to pursue their dreams, to fulfill their passion. For me, this is my biggest accomplishment. I was very fortunate. I have been able to identify my career calling at a very young age, almost right after college. It wasn't always my kind of dream or always kind of my goal at the time, but I received a fellowship when I was in college to go to University of California, Berkeley on the, it's a fellowship for nonprofit leaders at the time from mainland China. And I did an internship at a nonprofit in San Francisco. And that experience actually kindled my passion for nonprofit and to bring back the knowledge and skills that I learned in America back to serve back in China, actually. And then the nonprofit that I worked with was particularly focusing on education and education development. So that's sort of how I was able to find where my passion was at the time. And then in the past decade, since I was always in the nonprofit sector, I became more and more interested in this topic, especially how you can actually make big changes through education. I see the power of education, so that's why I continued this this career path. For me, purpose of education has to be twofold at the individual level and at the broader level. At the individual level, I think the purpose is to make you a better person. It's not about knowledge, it's not about skills, but the idea of education enlightens the individuals, gives you motivation, empowers people to pursue something larger than, just ordinarily around us. It's beyond just the food, just beyond the living conditions we have. It motivates us to see the world beyond us. And I think at a broader level, education makes the world a better place. It gives us wisdom, gives us food for thought. It gives us the power, the capacity to make changes. So that's also something is very rewarding that I find in my day-to-day job, being able to work in this field. You don't feel tired, although I was complaining to you that I didn't know this is a recorded session and I feel really exhausted right now in the afternoon. But you have the passion for what you're doing. You wake up wanting to go to work and you don't, well, one of the dangers is that you don't have much of a boundary between work and life. And I see sometimes I reply to emails around the clock, but you feel really happy. I mean, it's a kind of a status that you feel content, you feel satisfied, you feel the genuine happiness in your work. So one of the interesting things is that in my current job, I actually had the opportunity to work with many leaders in the higher education setting. So these are usually heads of institution or deans of a college, head of a department. These are faculty members and staff of universities across Asia. So being in that position, working with leaders, I think I was fortunate to develop my own, you call it style or approach, whatever word you prefer to use. But I feel that that helped me to find my own kind of voice in working with the leaders, and in a way to mirror my own kind of style in working in leading that is highly participatory, because I feel that everyone brings in different wisdom and different perspectives to the table. So it's very important as a leader to listen and to give other people the voice to speak up. So having that kind of opportunity to work with the leaders, I was able to learn how to invite everybody's voice and how to engage everybody to participate in this process. So we are working together towards the similar goals, rather than being the leader, being the manager or being the only one making the decisions. I like to invite people to work together for the same goal. Challenges are on a daily basis. For example, one of the challenges I always have is how can we create larger impact with the kind of work we do. As a nonprofit, we face challenges on a daily basis of lack of resources, and how can you serve more people? There's so much need in Asia among higher education development, and how can you use whatever resources you have to reach out to more people, to transform more people, so in terms that they can transform more students or more members in the communities. And one of the things we're currently working on, in fact, I myself is leading a project on women's leadership development among higher education. So we're trying to support women leaders. If you look at across Asia or across the world, there are many women faculty and staff at the junior and mid-career levels, but very rarely at the senior level. For example, in Hong Kong, if you look at all the public universities, we don't have any female presidents yet, right? None, even though Hong Kong's universities are ranked so high worldwide in various rankings. So how do we make changes? How do we encourage more women to take up leadership positions? I think the challenges are universal, be it in the university sector or corporate or nonprofit or different kind of industries. So this is one of the biggest challenges I'm facing right now, is how can we really work together to make some changes and have more leaders, women leaders in the universities. And it's also a very big topic. So there was a research published not long ago in Hong Kong about the Hong Kong University's women leadership, women career advancement. So interestingly, it's not really about the skills. It's not about lacking of competencies. If you look across, there are so many female PhD holders. There are a lot of women in the junior and mid-career kind of stage in their jobs. It's also not about not having time. People always think, women, especially if you're in your mid 30s or 40s, when you have kids and family, you usually have less time devoted to your academic research and life, and that might hinder women's leadership development. But interestingly, the research showed not. If you look at, there are many single women who are, also facing challenges in terms of moving up the career ladder. But what was the issue? So there are a number of factors, but one of the interesting factor was that women, since early on, they were not negotiating in terms of the workload. So usually in the university setting, what differentiates your ranking or your promotion is largely by the publication, your research. Publish or perish, that's what they say in the higher education sector. As a young faculty, as a junior faculty, women tend to take on more teaching responsibilities as well as administrative responsibilities, whereas the research found males usually they would negotiate for more time on research, on publication, so they can devote for producing publication. And that's actually one of the factors that caused the lagging behind of many of the women faculty members in moving faster in their career development, which is interesting, but in a way it's also alarming. Is that, you know, if you look across, when you are giving the same job, same kind of responsibilities, there's still such a big difference of how much you can negotiate. And then, you know, in all kinds of sectors, they talk a lot about equal pay. Why are women paid less compared to the men? And negotiation is one of the key reasons, actually. Women tend to take in or take whatever is offered, whereas men have the courage to speak up and negotiate. Women, you would focus on skills training and skills development. You would teach, for example, women how to negotiate, how to speak up, how to dress up even. But I think the larger challenge, the larger question has to be tackled on the system level, the policy level. For example, can you offer equal pay to men and women without having people to negotiate? And some men probably don't even like to negotiate, right? Can we create a more equal system for everyone, not just, you know, in terms of gender differences, but everyone in the society to thrive without having to consider all the biases and you know, all these additional kind of elements. I mentioned early on that, you know, my story probably would be very small compared to other people's kind of challenges that they have to go through. But one of the things I'm experiencing right now is, as you probably know, I'm a new mother. I just had a baby about 6 months ago. So it's a I wouldn't call it a challenge, but it was a learning experience, a learning curve for me to learn how to balance life and work, and the new role as a mother. And I'm also recently started to taking courses and study. So it's like my life, my daughter, and study, and it's a learning curve in a way, how to manage your time, how to manage your priorities, and how to manage your sleep schedule. So I find that very challenging. Be with. One of the things I will share is that going through this, you know, early stage of motherhood, it's probably also related to what I'm doing now in terms of women's leadership and women's advancement in Korea. You started to really realize there's a lot of challenges for women, especially for young women at my age and stage in life, in your life as well as in your work. So we talk about, I'll let you decide whether you want to, you know, keep this in the recording, but we talk about maternity leave, for example. Hong Kong has approved the bill of extending the maternity leave for 14 weeks. It was only 10 weeks for about maybe 20 years. The last time the bill was amended was back in 1995. Even this extension to 14 weeks is merely a catch-up with the international standards. So if you look at many other countries, they're doing way better than Hong Kong, Singapore, Vietnam, China, even India. So what does that mean to young women in Hong Kong trying to strike a balance between family and work? These are the real challenges for them if they want to advance in their career while still maintaining to have, trying to have a young baby at home. Childcare is another problem. Although outsiders may see Hong Kong has a luxury of having domestic helpers, but having go through that process, I realized there's not enough support from the government side, from the public side, to have, let's say, affordable childcare in the communities. You would have to send in an application and wait for so long in order to put your kid in the public facilities, whereas most families have to rely on their grandparents or a domestic helper. And many more things that that you don't, at least I did not realize when I didn't have the baby, but now it's becoming really real, that you see all these small things adding up together, that I just want to say it's not easy to be a mother, but on the other hand, you also feel very inspired to see many young women and women in general in Hong Kong overcoming all of these challenges. I feel that for me and many people that I know, we're very privileged to have the support, the help, or even just the resources of accessing, help, accessing benefit from the workplace. But many other people have to gone through much larger difficulty and challenges in order to be where they are. It's just very inspiring to see all these women achieving so much while having to go through all these.
Do you have any tips, for young mothers, on social media?
I'm still learning, so I'm not sure whether these are the tips, but one of the things I feel really glad about is the baby actually forced me to become an early bird. So I wake up at 5 a.m. right now every day. I do some studies, and I also try to put all the most priority kind of tasks during the day, be it my own study, my own personal arrangement, or work in the very early morning hours when I can enjoy some quiet time just by myself. And I find myself really, really efficient in those early hours before I even go to work. So
You design a new schedule for yourself, huh?
yeah, I have to. Well, basically, in a way, I feel that I don't have my own schedule, because when, especially now with the pandemic, a lot of times the kids have to be staying at home. So it's particularly challenging for women, for mothers. And I know not just me, myself, but a lot of my female friends, when they have babies, their schedule really have to alter around their families, particularly their child. So I think that's difficult, but in a way, it's also manageable. So one of the things we also talk about, I mean, this is an idea for you, I know you do many events and gatherings, is that maybe invite people to bring their child. Even with conferences now, they have some conferences, more progressive ones, they would provide childcare facilities so that women, when they go join these conferences, they can travel with a child and still focus on these conferences. So I thought that was actually really good. I mean, having those support systems for women to really devote to their work and career. But it's also difficult. I mean, not all the organizations, all the events would have so much resource to attend to all these individual needs. But that's a good direction, I think, if we can provide more support for women. For me, resilience is about bouncing back. No matter what kind of challenges you are facing or you have faced, it's the optimism, it's the hope that you remain after seeing all the challenges and difficulties, that you still remain that bright picture in life.